Okay, it's 6 o'clock, call the meeting to order. First action item is adoption of the agenda. I have a couple changes. If you would please, we're going to table the 10.1 until next month. That's eligibility. The eligibility policy, we're going to table that till next month with some more input from the administration. And then we want to add, what number to put that on, Lori? 10.5A. 10.5A, we need to have a meeting to talk about our future projects. Some major things coming up, but we need to have a special meeting. It will take probably an hour to an hour and a half to get through what we need to talk about. So we'll add that as an agenda item to find a time and date that we can do that in the very near future. So with those two changes, I would ask for a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Also move.
Olivia made a motion, second by Joanne. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Okay, the minutes for the August 20th meeting, I think we have have at least one adjustment on that one. It's on the donations area. We had a set of donations that somehow the March 2019 got in there. So we want to take that out. I think that was all, wasn't it? Take that out, we could approve the minutes as corrected.
Then there was the recommendations for employment. That's already done.
So accept the
Approve the minutes from 8:20 as amended.
motion by David, second by Joanne. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Consideration of bills and warrants, that's pages 5 through 30 in your packet. Any questions or comments on the bills and warrants?
Make a motion to approve those.
Motion by Jeff to approve the bills and warrants. Have a second from anyone?
Second.
Second by David. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Hearing of requests and suggestions from citizens, organizations. Seeing none, we will move on to 6.0, special report from the food service. Jenna, you're up. Yes, sir.
That's the hot seat.
Yeah, it's really hot.
Very exciting, ready for my close-up. All right, y'all. So I think I've met you all, but my name's Jenna Derringer. I am the new director of nutrition services for you all. I'm employed by OPA Food, but I'm all around here in Parsons. So I did just kind of want to talk to you guys about my numbers and stuff like that. So as of last week, our breakfast participation is up 4.2% from last year. So we average about 448 meals per day, which is about 19% over our projection. So we're doing really, really well. We're doing very well in breakfast, and I'm really pleased. And our lunch participation is up 2% from last year. And we are averaging 799 meals a day for the whole district, which is 9.1% over my daily kind of recommendation. So very grateful to be able to feed all the kids in Parsons. I think that it helps them perform better in the classroom. I think maybe teachers would agree. I know that my favorite subject was always lunch, so I always like that. We did start our staff specials 2 weeks ago, and we have sold or served 67 of them so far. They are available Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We have started delivering them to office personnel who can't always get up, like administrative staff, which has helped them out a little bit because I know that sometimes it's hard for them to find time to get up. So we've been able to do that, as well as we have delivered once, I think, to the DO. So that's been nice. And we have had, we've worked with Durden to get a staff special key on the POS, which makes everybody's life easier. So things are looking really good for that. And then we're kind of playing with the idea of a staff special for breakfasts. Still not super sure about the logistics of that, if people would want them or not, but I think it's just as important to feed the staff and the faculty as well as the kids. So we have been having some fun with that, and we have been able to feed the football players before their home games. So I would like to actually take partial credit for their win on Friday. I'm just saying, is it a coincidence? Is it not? I don't know. But we have been able to feed them, and that's been really great. They've been super polite and wonderful. So it's been really, really nice to feed them. I'm currently in the process for applying for an app for innovative breakfast grants. It's up to $5,000 for new equipment. So this could be things like insulated bags or just general, our equipment sees a lot of wear and tear because we feed a lot of kids. And so my tongs will break, trays will break. Sometimes, it's maybe we want some things that's just prettier, that just look nicer. And so that money could help with that, as well as more utilitarian things. So we are in the process of that. It is my first grant, and it is very tedious, but we're working really hard to get that money for you all. So that's kind of it for me. We always are hiring. Basically, turnover in the food industry is always going to be an issue. So we do have open positions for a sub, which would just be a part-time kind of on-call position, as well as a server. Unfortunately, Vicki Gress, who's been with us for over 20 years, I think, has to move to Caney, and we're super, super sad, but she will be leaving us. But luckily, we are able to transfer her over to OPA because Caney is an OPA. So she's not without a job. But we won't even bring it up because we'll start crying. So her last day is either Friday or Monday. So it's really sad. But we will be hiring in that position. So if you know someone, let me know. And I think that's all I have. If y'all have any questions for me.
Are we still providing over the weekend meals for children through OPA?
That's through the Kansas Food Bank program, and yes.
Do you know how many we're serving?
I'd have to do some checking to see each of
But
the buildings.
that's
That's not with OPA, that's through the food bank.
I'd like to know that.
Okay.
So, you might be surprised to know that as a board member, many of the questions I get asked is about food. And so, can you just give us kind of a brief summary of your background and kind of your thoughts on where you want to head for our district and so forth? You are new. We've been through several of you, and so just kind of give us a brief summary of who you are and where you think we're going.
Yeah. So I graduated from Texas Tech in 2015 with a degree in restaurant hotel management. Right after I graduated, I started working for Cisco Foods. So I sold groceries basically to restaurants for about a year and a half. I lived in Tulsa for a year, and then we moved to Pittsburgh, and that's where I live now. My husband finished his PhD, and he is a professor over at Pitt State. So we are in this area for a long time, and so I have no intentions on moving anywhere or anything like that. And then I left Cisco because sales turned out not to really be my thing. And then I went back into operations, and I did resident dining over at Pitt State for about a year and a half. And then I decided to come over to OPA, and for me, so I know, and I also go to Missouri Southern and take one graduate course a semester. So in like 20 years, I will finish a master's degree, but don't want to pull a hammy or anything. So for me, I come from a long line of public servants and educators, and so and OPA I think feels the same way. But we're in this business to feed kids. And I'm in this business to provide them with a hot, healthy, or cold, if it needs to be cold, healthy meal that is reimbursable for the school so you can get your money back. And that tastes good because I don't like to serve bad food. And that's my goal. My goal is not to make a buck off of you all. OPA already figured that out, and so it's not my job. My job is to make sure the kids are fed and to provide them, because lunch was always my highlight. And so it needs to be, or should be, the highlight of their day if they're not into math like I wasn't. So it's basically to give them a good lunch and a good breakfast, and to make sure that they are performing well in the classroom because of that. And I have heard it said that nobody really knows what kind of socks LeBron James wears, but he does, because when you're the greatest, the details are what matters. And so for me, every single plate has to be a good one. And if it's not, then we'll fix it. And sometimes blunders happen. But for me, it's just feeding the kids is my ultimate mission.
Okay. Well, thank you for that background.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions for Jenna?
And I'll say, Jenna and her ladies have provided some really good meals for staff at professional developments and our back to school things. And so she's willing to try anything. If you've got an
What
idea.
are some of your specials for teachers?
Well, tomorrow we're having a loaded macaroni and cheese with a salad to keep it healthy, and then a triple chocolate brownie. And then on Wednesday, we're doing a goat cheese and bacon salad, which is a little risky in Southeast Kansas because most of my staff were like, "You're gonna make me eat goat cheese," and I was like, "Just try it, please." So we're risking it on goat cheese on Wednesday, and then on Thursday we will have ham and cheese sliders with chips and raspberry jam bars.
I think
So
the teachers really appreciate that.
we've been
So they're
averaging
writing
about
down.
11 a day, which is up from, I think their highest day was 12 last year. So we've gone up for sure, and we actually have made it able for the staff to just purchase dessert if they wanted it, which they seem sometimes to want. So
The lemon tart, I would highly recommend.
lemon tart.
Favorite, quite tasty.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Jenna.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Keep up the good work. Okay, 7.0, report from the superintendent.
All right, here's some things coming up. We've got the official enrollment date or count date is this Thursday, the 20th. And so our enrollment numbers looking pretty similar to where they were in the packet, up maybe a little. So once we get the official count, then we'll have those numbers for sure. Now, on the 12th, we had some professional development. And so that goes back to that teaching and learning component for the teachers. We spent the day doing Google training. And so we had 2 professors from Fort Hays State that came that are official Google trainers, and they spent the day with us teaching us things, lots of things, in regard to Google and how we can use that and how we can help kids use that in our classrooms and just in our building. So it was good. Okay, what else? Let's see. We've got middle school and high school parent-teacher conferences coming up, so we'd encourage folks to get out to those. It's going to be a little different in that it's going to be at the high school and at the middle school. So instead of being at one location, we're going to do it 2 separate locations this fall and see how that goes. Okay, but it's on 2 different nights, so you can visit both of those things. But that's tied to that student performance, when parents are engaged, and we want for you to be engaged. So if you can't make it, please give them a call. We could work something out. All right. CASB has their fall regional meeting at Greenbush, and this year it's all about safety and security. So if you'd like to go to that, that's September the 27th, that evening, I'd encourage you. I'm taking the car. They'll feed us and we can go and learn some safety and security things. October the 11th is the end of the first 9 weeks, and I don't even know how that happened because we started yesterday. It's gone really quickly. And then October the 12th, we'll have half-a-day grades, half-a-day professional development, and the administrators, we've been talking about it, and we met with the instructional coaches. We're working out a plan to see, October the 12th, how that afternoon would best be spent. Our next regular board meeting is here, October the 15th at 6 o'clock. Then we've got those elementary parent-teacher conferences on the 16th and the 18th. The 22nd, there is no school. School's not in session. And then it's time for the CASB conference in Overland Park. And so that's the big 3-day. I've never been to that before, but I have some information about if you're interested. So that was just the dates, the times. Those aren't the fun things. Okay.
If anybody wants to go to that September 27th fall conference, you need to let Lori know so she can get us registered.
Right.
David's going to go.
You want to go?
Yeah, I'll have to check my calendar, but
Okay.
pencil me in, please.
I can sign you up.
You and David. Anybody else want to
Anybody
go?
else wanna go?
Me,
You'd like to
I'll
go?
let you know.
Okay.
Good.
And I've got one more thing real quick, which is exciting. So we got this email from a gentleman by the name of Vincent Carter, who is from the International STEM Education Association, which is that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I'm just going to read it because I'm going to. On behalf of the International STEM Education Association, I am pleased to inform you that the Parsons Middle School will be recognized as a STEM School of Excellence Award recipient during the conference. The STEM Excellence Award program honors public and private elementary, middle, and high schools whose faculty and administration have implemented a comprehensive, integrated STEM education program at very high levels or have made significant progress or significant strides in achievement through the implementation of the comprehensive STEM programs. The STEM Excellence Award sets a standard of excellence for all schools, striving for the highest level of achievement in integrated science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in education. wow,
Yeah.
that's really
That's
exciting.
good.
So Trevor Miserel, who works at the high school and at the middle school both, he has done a lot of work in that department, and so this was a very large award. So October the 9th in Branson, there is a special recognition and luncheon, and if you'd like to attend, you're more than welcome. We can go and attend that day. So Trevor will be there for the 3-day conference, and then the rest of us will go that Tuesday for that lunch to recognize. So,
That's great news.
yes, that was great news. That was the highlight. There's a lot of good things.
Any questions for Ms. Ray? Okay. 8.0 is report of the Board of Special Education meeting. Ms. Thompson went for a meeting this month.
Okay, we heard from the Tri-County coordinators about all their new positions. Tri-County has a total of 19 new certified teachers, so each coordinator told us how their year was going with all their new teachers. The KSD audit was complete on August 30th, and as you know, Julie will be done the end of this year, so Emily's taking over, and so they've made a timeline for hiring the new assistant director, and they're posting it November 1st to December 14th. And then they'll make the decision who they want to interview, and then the interviews will be January 8th and 9th.
Any questions? 9.0, we'll hear from our high school administrators. Eric, Rob, you're up.
Rob's here from Moral Support. A few things, just kind of the start of the year. Football's off to a 3-0 start. It's a great start. The crowd Friday night was very impressive, so it was nice to have a big crowd. And thanks to the rec for the free food before the game. I mean, I know our family went over and we grabbed a burger before the game. That was nice to have that they provided. We hosted cross country last Thursday at Big Hill. If you've never been to Big Hill for a cross country race, get out there and watch one. It is impressive. If you want to climb the dam and watch from up there, it's really cool to watch almost the entire race from up there. And thanks to Mike for being our starter for that race. So we appreciate you helping us there. Forest Park, lots of tennis tournaments. There's one going on right now that I went and watched a little bit. Not only do we use that for us to host, but other schools use it to host as well. So it's been very busy for tennis. Debate got started on Saturday. I added all the debate and forensics events to the calendar. They weren't on there, so Mr. Workman sent me the debate and forensics schedule. So those have all been added today. And our meet is October 6th, if any of you would like to help. They need judges. I've never judged debate before. I don't know if Mr. Workman can talk me into it, but I thought I'd try and talk you into it. We're also looking at maybe adding Scholars Bowl, if we can find an adult at the high school that we think would do a good job with that. I think that's something that I haven't been in a school that hasn't had Scholars Bowl, so I would really like to see that get going. So I put a plea out there. I haven't heard back, so I may have to go knock on some doors and see if I can convince someone to do that. Freshman volleyball tournaments at home on Saturday. If you haven't watched volleyball, you can come out on Saturday and watch that. And then Honor Flight Breakfast, we just wrapped another one up on Saturday. We've raised a little over $900, I think, in the two that we've had. But that's the third Saturday of every month. So if you like biscuits and gravy, we start at 7. So love to see some faces there. And a few other things. Mr. Brumback is working in the back of his shop. He has a gate that he's able to put things back behind the shop and lock up, but he says it doesn't secure very well. So we actually talked this morning about that. I gave him the go-ahead, and he's got to cut a top bar off so we can get his forklift in, but he's going to redo the gate so that he can actually secure items behind there and just clean it up, because right now it's pretty old, and it's just something he wanted to do for security and for looks. So he's going to be working on that. And then there's a grass area to the west of the building, right out here where Mr. Ray parks his robotics trailer, and we'd like to get that grass gone and rock it. So that way when Mr. Brumback puts his metal out there, it doesn't sit in the mud when it rains. And I know y'all say there's a drought. It's not been a drought since I moved here. Forklift got stuck moving some metal around, so just to rock it would be aesthetically better, as well as probably better for his materials and for Mr. Ray's trailer. A few things that we're doing for kids. Some of them, these are not new. They're just things I don't know if anybody knows about. The blue and gold cards, kids get those from the counselors. The blue and gold cards allow them to get out for lunch early a couple days a month, and then gets them out of a Viking time once a month. And it's just a, hey, good job last year on your grades. Here's a little bit of incentive. We also have on Fridays, anyone with no Ds or Fs and no attendance issues, no disciplinary referrals, they get to go at 2:45, and then that Viking time is just for those that are on the DF list. And I've gone around the last few, and I go to all the, well, I break it up. We go to the freshman Viking times, and we go in and we say, you're going here, you're going here. We don't give them an option. We say, you're going to see this teacher. And we've had several kids that were on that DF list that were not on it this last time. And it's not that we're doing anything magical. It's just now they know someone else is keeping them accountable. So that's worked out. I made above and beyond cards. Well, I didn't make them. Michelle made them for me. And I just keep a few with me. And when I see a kid do something like pick something up off the floor or help a friend or whatever, I just will write their name down, sign my name, give it to them. It's nothing but a drink at a football game. But it's just kind of a little thank you. So that's something that I've passed a few of those out. And then Spirit Bus. We've had over 30 kids on both the Spirit Buses. So that's fantastic that we've got some kids that want to go to those games. And the last couple things, parent-teacher conferences. We're going to be at the high school September 25th and 26th. I'm going to make a change on that. We're going to have the teachers in their rooms to start out. A couple reasons why. CTE teachers, I think there's real value in the parents going out and seeing what they do. I want my wife to go out and see Mr. Ferguson's shop. Because Paxton comes home and talks about Mr. Ferguson like he's a rock star, and he is. But I want her to see the shop. The other issue being, we have had a couple kids that have had some issues with school for one reason or another, and sitting in a gym and talking to a teacher about that with our kids has been uncomfortable. And I have never liked that as a parent, and I don't necessarily like that as an administrator. I polled the faculty, and it was overwhelmingly something to one that they would like to be in their rooms, and we're going to go that way. That's just one of those, I'm making that decision, and if it goes well, great. If it doesn't, I'll take the heat for that. But I have reasons why, and I wanted to let you know of that. And then finally, I send out a daily bulletin every day. If you'd like to be on that daily bulletin, shoot me an email. There's 3 or 4 of you, they get that every day from me. It's just, here's what's going on, try and put a little picture or a cartoon or something in it, and then a schedule of the events. But it gets communication from the school every day to a parent, and it's always good, hopefully. That's a good way to start the day, is some good positive feedback. So, with that said, questions for me?
I have a couple things from staff members that have talked to me and from students that I've seen, community members. I just want to give you guys 2 pats on the back, Robbie, Eric. Community members and kids just think you're doing a fantastic job. The excitement is there, the morale is there, the energy is there. So a pat on the back for that. Number 2, when I talked to Ernest Moreland at Youth Crisis Center, they appreciate you guys coming over and helping those young boys out and making them feel like they have a level playing field at Parsons High School and the middle school, so that's appreciated. And to Robbie and to Janelle Houck and her Booster Club for donating the money to get the 4 NFL players that, I don't know any school around here that has 4 NFL players that graduated from their high school. But this started in 2009 with the leadership studies class that I had, and then Jane Posh in her business management class followed up with the 4 plaques that they gave out 2 years ago to the families. This insert that went into the program was a great idea. Marvel Park is starting to look like a football field, in my opinion. And when I talked to Gary Chrisman at the rec center, I said, Gary, there's not even a sign up there that says that's Marvel Park. So he worked on getting that Marvel Park sign put up, as well as a couple little decals on the garage doors. And it's my understanding that on September 25th, we'll have 4 surveillance cameras that are motion detectors that will be put up to look for any suspicious activity. So that's a good thing. So this is much appreciated.
Any other comments or questions? You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up.
Ditto.
Thank you. Okay, we do not have oral middle school reports because they are all busy with other activities, but you do have a written report that you can have an opportunity to look at your leisure. So we will move on to elementary. Mr. Kurt and Shelley.
Well, I wanted to share some of the new things that are going on at Garfield. Over the summer, the staff did this book study over Help for Billy. And the staff met at the coffee shop 3 times over the summer. And the subtitle of this book, it's a Beyond Consequences approach to helping challenging children in the classroom. So a Billy, and they said insert any name you want there, is any child that struggles in the classroom. And what this is a paradigm shift that all of those students who, this referred to the atoms in your classroom are those kids who have been loved since before the minute they were born. And they were wanted and they were well cared for. And then the Billies are the students who have had, have heard struggle, felt struggle since before they were born. And how it causes their brains to be rewired or wired differently and causes them to react to the stresses of school very differently than other kids. And it said that our schools have been designed for students who are hardwired to be able to sit there and listen and respond to stresses in what we would call an appropriate manner. And so for many years now as a teacher, and this is my 6th year in administration, I have sat through many meetings hearing teachers say, I just wish so-and-so, could just sit there and behave. Why can't they just sit there like all the other kids? And so with this, and I have a handout for you, it says, in teaching, you can't do the Bloom stuff until you take care of the Maslow stuff. And so it seems like at Garfield, we recognize that students' physiological needs and their safety needs were taken care of. But the middle things on the Maslow's pyramid, we weren't doing such a great job with. And that is, that's the relationship part of it. And it's also the part of helping kids learn how to appreciate others, appreciate theirself. And then the very top of Maslow's pyramid is being able to learn. And so anyway, in an effort to, it said that students from trauma are not able to regulate themselves, self-regulate when they get upset. They come with a tolerance level that's like that big. And so another thing that we've started this year is the zones of regulation. And it fosters self-regulation and emotional control. And so this next little handout is we had Bright Signs create this big signs that we have all over the building, and it matches the little children on our bench, our little Viking kids. And at the beginning of the school year, teachers taught 10 lessons for the first 2 weeks of school. And I have a quote actually from the Help for Billy book. And it says, students' shortfalls and disruptive behaviors overshadow their strengths and abilities. Rather than help them fix the problems, people seem to just keep pointing them out. And so I've seen kids sit out in the hallway, and different things. It's just like their problems that they're having, we just make them worse by singling them out and setting them apart. So at Garfield, instead of doing timeouts, we now do time-ins. That instead of a teacher saying, go over and sit over there, they then move in close to the child and spend more time with them. With this visual framework, Students come in and do a check-in with their teachers at the beginning of the hour. The goal is to get them be in the green zone, meaning they're ready to learn. And if they find themselves in any of the other zones, it's already been established in the classroom. What do you do? Like one day I was walking down the hallway and I thought a little boy was playing at the sink in the bathroom. And I saw him in there kind of splashing around. And so I stood there in the doorway and I said, you need to do your business and get out. And he said, Miss Russell, I'm in the blue zone and I'm trying to wake myself up. And so he was splashing water in his face. And so anyway, the teachers are saying that it's going wonderful. I have had one student, I mean, we've been in school a month now, and I've had one student sent to my office. This time last year, I would have probably already had, 20 or more. So I feel like that's going good. And then another thing it teaches, besides how to regulate yourself, it teaches students how to identify the size of their problem. And, there's things that are little tiny problems and there's big problems. And anyway, I just think it's a wonderful curriculum. And then the last thing we're doing, which I'll know more about this later because I just had the meeting with the leaders this morning, but Garfield is starting little families, and all of our foster children are in a family. And then I had teachers give me names of students who they felt could benefit from this. And we have 9 adults. They are assigned to 3 or 4 students, and I consider them our high trauma students. And they will meet once a week with them to just check in and what's the high and the low in your life right now. And so anyway, as that rolls on, I'll tell you how that's going. But after Christmas, we intend to have every student in the building in a little family and use every adult in the building. So anyway, that's what we're doing.
Thank you.
All right, well, at Lincoln, on September 11th, Melissa Peak got to go to Topeka and speak to the Kansas Board of Education, along with the iStation Chief Operating Officer and 2 other representatives from 2 other schools about iStation. Kansas pays for iStation for us to be able to use it for free, iStation reading. And so she got to go up there and present our data from Lincoln. And she was one of 3 teachers or districts chosen because of the data. So we're excited about that. Our kindergarten went on a walking field trip after they read Miss Bindergarten Takes a Field Trip with Kindergarten. And they got to go to the post office and to the police station and the fire station and a bank. And the highlight of the bank was they all got to hold a $100 bill. So they really liked that. And then also, kindergarten's going to have their science day on September 24th, and they're working on their standard motion and stability forces and interactions. And Twin Valley is going to be bringing like a bucket truck so they can go out and see that and talk about how, bullies work and everything. So exciting things at Lincoln. And then I was asked to tell about some of the positive behavior stuff that we do at Lincoln. Some of the teachers have been trained in the PACS game, the positive behavior game. And so some of them still use that as a tool. Some classrooms do like whole classroom marbles. We have individual sheets, sticker charts for some kids. I have some kids that come and check in at the office a couple of times a day and tell me how their day is going. We have individual kids, in the classroom, they have their charts. Some of them use the dojo and they get the positive dings. You hear them in the hallway, ding, ding, ding. And, but anyway, that's just some of the stuff that we use at Lincoln. So.
Elaborate on the dojo. The general public doesn't know what dojo is.
Dojo is it's an app. It's a program that some of the teachers use. They can set up different things that they're looking for, maybe like walking quietly in line, working, being nice to a friend. There's you can set up anything you want, and then you just push on their name and they get a ding. And it's also a good communication tool for parents because parents know instantly, they can go on and say, oh, they have 5 points, or oh, they only have 1 point today.
Because they have dojo on their phone.
Yeah, because it comes to their phone as a dojo or whatever device they have, yeah.
Okay. Well, at Guthridge, we use most of our teachers use dojo and we really like it. Some of our classroom teachers use token economies, ways to try to catch kids being good. We kind of copied some ideas from Garfield that we think will help. We try to ignore whatever we can ignore because it's funny, we teach math and we teach reading, but sometimes we just give consequences for behavior. So we're trying to be more preventive and more proactive in terms of trying to help kids be more comfortable. You know, last year we spent a lot of time, rightfully so, with our ACEs because so many of our kids come in crisis. It's just, I mean, sometimes it's sad. So that's kind of what we've been doing at Guthridge. And last year we had a really, really positive climate. This year we're feeling that we've got some kids that really need that extra loving. So our fourth grade team at their team meetings the last 2 weeks have tried to design activities that we used to have Fun Fridays, and we're trying to make those be more frequently just because making kids wait till Fridays like making us wait till Christmas. So, and then academically, we started, Miss Cornell, Miss Armstrong, and Miss Cervantes did a great job getting everything ready. So we took our map test right off the bat. We took our map tests and got our interventions set up, and we started our interventions. We copied that off Garfield as well. Last year, we did grade level math interventions in the morning and continued with pull-out for reading in the afternoons. And this year, we're going to do an hour worth of grade level math intervention in the morning and an hour in the afternoon, just to make it more kind of like the old drop everything and read. It's all fourth graders are going to math intervention at the same time. All fifth graders go to math intervention at the same time. We feel like that's added some stability and consistency with what we're doing, so we're hoping to see some positive results.
Any questions or comments? Thank you all. Thanks for going well. No old business, so let's move to new business, 10.0, accept donations in schools, page 33 of your packet. Lori, would you like to read those to us, please?
Sorry, page 33. I was just busy thinking of how exciting all the things were that they shared. Okay, page 33, here were the donations. So to Parsons Middle School Strategic Partners, the Viking Store, a donation of $500. Jed and Andrea Hetlinger to the Viking Store, donation of $50. Upscale Country, a donation to the Viking Store for $100 for a total of $650. Garfield Elementary, the elementary PTO for reading counts and inflatables donated $500. Parsons High School, William James Moore, a library book for $12. Wayne Gilmore, a library book for $27. Ramon Martin, graphic design for $10. Louisa Weiner, student planners for $2,420. Parsons Recreation Center, PHS football, $40. OPA, open house treats and centerpiece, $96. Brandy Redmond, PHS football, valued at $20 for a total of $2,625 to Parsons High School. So for a grand total of donations received by the school district in August of 2018, $3,775.
Move to accept those donations.
Motion by David, second by Olivia to accept donations. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Again, skipping 10.1 to next month. 10.2 is discussion and possible action on the wireless mic system. And you have a packet you received today that has the
most
summary of
recent bids.
the microphone bids, and then the bids themselves are in your packet. Ms. Ray, would you like to lead this discussion for us, please?
All right, so we started out with bids that were in your packet originally from Sweetwater. We've gotten additional bids from Kansas City Audio Visual and then from Total Electronics over in Joplin. So if you'll notice this, the number of mics, it depends anywhere from 8 to 12 to 16 and what that bid is, and then the brand of equipment. So Total Electronics, KZAV, and then Sweetwater all gave us the Shure brand and what the cost would be. You can see that there's a difference if we look at just 8 mics from Total Electronics and then Kansas City Audio Visual and then down to Sweetwater. And then in visiting, when I talked to Nate at Total Electronics, what he recommended was that the other brand was a very high professional grade brand, and that he felt for high school theater, this other brand would be reasonable, would stay in good shape. They're made with metal boxes instead of plastic. And so he offered that additional bid with the other brand of equipment. So, last year when we did the performance at the auditorium, there were 20 wireless mics that were used because the district had wireless mics, and we used what they had at the municipal building, and then we borrowed what they had in Pittsburgh at the municipal building. And now with the FCC selling off those, we can't use those. And so it's my understanding that both of those city buildings don't intend to purchase wireless mics, because typically when people come in, big performers, they bring all their own sound. So.
I just think that this program for us that utilizes these is important to us. It has been through the years. And I just, going to performances myself, see how the mics are placed on the participants, and just shirking and going with less, it just doesn't seem that that's the right thing to do for me. If we're going to support our programs, we need to support them right. And so I would encourage the larger number. Obviously, the KCAV is a smaller cost for the larger number, and it's the same equipment.
It is the same equipment.
Unless there's some reason not to go with them, that would be my initial thought.
But if we went with Total Electronics, their low bid, and just up that to 12 or 16, we could probably.
Well, we could probably get by with 12. I mean, the whole deal of it is the kids aren't projecting their voices.
Right.
That's like we talked earlier.
Well, my concern was, so we got 8 from Total Electronics, 11,435. The same 8 from KCAV is 10,510. So do we even have a bid from Total Electronics for 16? Because it doesn't seem to be a linear progression. If we don't, I feel like we've got to go with KCAV. Not that I have a problem with going with Total Electronics, but if they didn't submit us a bid for 16, how do we act on that?
Well, can't you negotiate, because these aren't true bids? They were just sent in randomly.
They were just bids and estimates that I had.
They were just spot bids.
And I could call Total Electronics and ask for a bid of 12 or 16, but the
problem we got now is we've made these public, and then it's not competitive at all. It's not.
No.
Yeah, that's my problem with that.
Would we need 20 this year? I know we had 20 last year, but how many would we need? Have we talked to Mr. Burke about how many we might need?
Right. Well, and Mr. Burke had gotten the initial estimates of 8 and 16, because he felt like 16 would be great. Because I think he knew how expensive they were, and felt like,
Well, can we get 8? Can we just get 8 for now and see?
I'm not in support of 8. Let's do it right. If we're going to do it, let's do it right.
So you think we need to go 16 or 12?
You're transferring mics. From people to people, it's just an added problem. I
think there's a large difference in the KCAV bid for 16 mics and then Sweetwater's bid for 16 mics, and it's the same range.
Huge.
That's a large difference.
That even makes sense.
Is there any type of warranty difference between the Shure and the Avlax? Do we have any of that information? But your feedback from Total Electronics was, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that Avlax is
He thought that would be adequate for high school theater, and that it's not professional grade, and the other brand of equipment is used, as a professional theater grade wireless mic.
Well, if you bought 2 of the electronic, the Avlex, if you bought 2 of the 8s, it's still cheaper. It's still cheaper than KVAC,
That is
KCAV.
Yeah. If you went with the Avlax, you basically get, if we went with 12, you can get 2 free. Same price anyway.
Yeah.
Have we had a conversation with Mr. Burke about what Avlax is versus Shure? Because
It was my understanding what he did was that he and, Russ, you want to talk? Russ said you have to send the chair.
The only reason I ask is I overheard you saying it, and I wanted to make sure that, I know for the bid from Sweetwater, that they were actually including microphones.
Right.
The
And
rack to put them in.
That's
The rack
correct.
drawer for the stuff to go in.
That's correct.
The fan outs and all that stuff, and I just wanted to make sure that the other people were doing the
They
same
were.
thing.
They were,
Okay, that
yes.
was, I just wanted to make sure, because I hadn't seen the other
Oh.
quotes. Mr. Head, do you know the difference between an Aflac and a Shure? I mean. I've never heard of an Aflac. Okay. I've used a lot of Shures, though.
Successfully?
Shures?
Uh-huh.
Sure, yeah, that's what we use all the time.
I mean, that's a professional grade.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, there's different series of the Shure microphones. You know, there's like the consumer grade and then what they call prosumer, and then they got the pro stuff. And there's drastic differences in prices. But I mean, like a pro series Shure is gonna be, you know, $8,000 for one microphone. You know, whereas like, you know, yeah, it gets real stupid real quick. But you know, you can get a good one for around $1,000 or $1,200, you know, and then the lesser expensive ones. The problem that it runs into is the amount of frequencies available. And like with the bottom line Shure ones, there's only 12 frequencies available for use in our zip code. If you move up to the next level, you can get up to, I believe it's 20 or 24 frequencies available in our area. And I think that's the area that Sweetwater was quoting you because they didn't know if you were going to want to go to 12 or to 16, which the bottom line ones, you wouldn't have been able to do that
To do
with.
that.
You wouldn't have been able to have that number of frequencies available. So, if that helps you guys.
Yeah.
So 12 is what you're saying is the max, as we have it now?
At the bottom frequency, I don't know what the actual frequency band is that we're in right now, and I don't know how that would overlap with what we would be getting. I would have to actually look at the carrier frequencies and see what was available. But don't quote me on these numbers, there's like the SLX and the QLX, I believe it is. And the SLX, I believe being the lesser expensive, I think there was 12 frequencies available in our area. And when you went to the QLX ones, you could get up to like 20 or 24 frequencies in this area. In this area, right.
And that's what these all are, is QLX for sure.
Yeah, and they're a little more stable when it comes to the stability of the radio signal going back and forth. It's a little more stable.
The QLX,
The QLX, that's correct.
that makes sense.
Are these available for rent?
They are. You could rent, if you was going to rent 24 of them for about 2 weeks, it cost about $9,000. So I checked with Vista Productions, which is a company that we used all the time at Stage Pro when we would rent radios for whoever.
We did check on that, because I thought, well, let's just rent them.
Yeah.
Well-
When you try to reserve them for that many radios for that long of a period of time, it gets really expensive, because they're like
Fine.
$75 per radio per day, you know, so. Anything else?
Thanks.
Didn't mean to butt in. I just
No,
wanted to make sure.
that's
Thank
good.
you. Thank
Like
you.
that.
We need all the information we can get.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay,
So if you wanted a Shure, looks to me like KVAC at 16 is the best bet.
well, here's your other added issue, is when you look at the two bids between KCAV and Sweetwater, you have one notable difference in whether it's material or not, maybe Mr. Head would know. And that is Sweetwater is bidding QLX DBP G50s, and the other people are bidding QLX D14 G50s. Okay, so is there a difference between a QLX D14 and a QLX DBP? They both have G50, they're both QLX, but one of them is a DPP and the other one is a D14. And so if there's immaterial difference, that's one thing. If there's a material difference, that's another, and I don't know. So,
Did you hear Mr. Quirin's question?
I'm being told to come back here.
Please.
So what is it again?
the Sweetwater bid is for
QLX DBP G50 systems.
Right.
The KCAV bid, as well as the others that bid the Sure option, are QLX D14 G50s. So is there a difference between a QLX D14 and a QLX DBP?
I would have to see what the DVP is. The BP is the body pack system, which is the little transmitter that sits on your side. And I'd have to look up the other one because I honestly don't know. I could go do it real quick.
Okay.
But I don't know what the other one is. Whenever it was brought to my attention about this stuff, and we was wondering what was going on, I called the gentleman at Sweetwater that I've dealt with for the last 20 years, who deals with all the pros and stuff. And it's like, here's what we would want to have happen and how we would not want to have problems and stuff. And I said, what is the thing right now? And this is what he said. But that doesn't mean that, he wasn't trying to get rid of those two, instead of a different one. I do know this, the body pack system here, it says G50 on it, and that particular number is what they refer to as the guitar system, but it's just a number for them to use to identify it, because it's still just a transmitter. You've got a receiver that sits here and you've got a transmitter here, and you can either plug a guitar into this transmitter or you can plug a microphone into this transmitter. The systems that we ordered would come with microphones, not guitar cables.
The operative difference in my review, because both of them say body pack wireless systems, is the QLDX D14 versus a QLDX DBP. And if they're all in the same, then we're talking about the same thing. If they're not, then that might be a problem. So
I'd be happy to go try to check it out real quick for you.
So, Mr. President, I would move that we table this maybe till later in the meeting to have him do some additional research.
Everybody okay with that? We'll come back
Thank
to
you,
it.
Mr. Ed.
Come back to it later. Okay, 10.3, discussion of possible action on the high school track resurfacing. You have a packet of information also received tonight with a summary. And am I looking at this? I think we're looking at apples and oranges when we look at what we have in front of us. So you all's thoughts. You've got most of this information ahead of time to look at. We run from 60,000 to 190,000. 190,000 is a complete redo of the track, tear up down to base and resurface it. The other three are more some type of fix the bad spots and
Structural respray.
Did we not say that it didn't have to be all torn up?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It
that's what I
doesn't. It
thought. That
doesn't.
was, yeah.
And when all the different people came and toured with Mr. Swanson, Mr. Barkus, and myself, and Mr. Ramsey and Mike, they all said what good shape our track was in, considering it was 12 years old. So that typically it didn't last quite that long. And so usually about 10 was average. So each of the different groups felt like it needed the respray, but it wasn't at a point where it needed to be redone. Someone gave us that option, just in case we had.
So I guess I will express my ignorance to this, since this is not my area of expertise. Whenever I see in the notes column, bicomponent urethane coating, a tough light surface, and a polyurethane structural spray coating, I guess I yield to someone else with expertise in this room, hopefully, are those equivalent surfaces or not?
that's my concern, Jeff. I know some stuff about tracks, but I don't know about coatings of tracks. So that's why I wonder if we're talking the same thing or not when we look at each of these components. So when you look at their bid specs, it really is difficult to ascertain what they're telling us because we don't understand that language.
and I've done some research, and some of it talks about the PSI, and then other talks about, you know, the whether it be the rubber. So it's very,
On the United Sports Systems, there's no warranty on that at all, correct?
that is correct. On the bid that I received, that was not listed as having a warranty. And that's on the last page of the packet, so. And that just said, you know, injecting liquid rubber into the existing oval track. And then the other is applying a new 13 millimeter tough light track, which that's their product.
Which one of these companies did Erie's track? Or
St. Paul has.
Or St. Paul?
Yeah, St. Paul. It was Mike Dixon.
That was the guy
And he
that I
was-
tried to get a hold
Mike
of
Dixon.
at
Oh,
Pittsburgh.
it's
He did
Southeast.
He did
return
front and back,
call.
too.
Okay. Oh, I thought we had a bid from
No,
there.
he did theirs.
And Frontenac.
Frontenac, yes,
And both of them are very pleased.
yes.
I have his phone number.
Yeah, and the architect did reach out to him, is my understanding as well, because when you gave me the number, I sent
Yeah.
it to him. He had not.
But he does total tear outs.
Oh, he doesn't do the resurfacing.
That's what that's what the superintendent at Cherokee, I was led to believe.
So Fisher is the one that did the track originally in 2006.
The other people we talked to were very complimentary of him and the work he did. They all said, your track's in great shape.
Track's in great shape for 12 years old.
For 12 years old. it's in-
Everybody who came and looked said that to us.
It's in great shape. And that was the only group that gave any kind of warranty on their workmanship. Everything else, materials, but then it, you know.
Well, that's a pretty good warranty, too. 5 years.
Well, knowing that Fisher did the original one,
Right,
this
that
is Mr. Fisher's protocol, and, you know, I would be inclined to go with that for the mere fact that we've had a good, I don't know, commentary and good experience over his work, and that goes a long ways. We've had a lot of problems in this district with roofs and other things where we've bought a pig in a poke, and so anyways, there we go.
And we do have a warranty here.
Right.
It's a good warranty. One of the things that all of them told us is that when you do this, you're looking at, I believe it was 7 years, you're gonna have to look at
7
redoing
to
again,
10.
because this is, and at that point in time, you're gonna have to probably go down to the bottom. You may get another overspray for 5 years, and then you're for sure after that time frame, which would be a dozen years, that you probably, at least in 12 years, you're gonna have to look at a completely redo.
Yeah, so anyway, that's just my initial thought. I'm not making a motion or anything, I'm just throwing that out there, given the,
Don't we have to get started on this pretty soon?
We would like to get started to get this done before winter, because
Right.
if we get in the spring and try to do it, then the track teams are out of a place to practice. We can do this without a worry about football, because there is a place for football to practice, not on the field itself. They can go somewhere else for those couple of weeks that this project would be in place. And they thought, I think all of them supposed to take a couple of weeks to get this done.
Mr. Barkus, do you have any commentary on this?
Fisher, as you said, it's going on how many years now?
12.
12. He'll give us 5 more warranty, that's what I would go with.
I make a motion that we go with Fisher Tracks.
And I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Joanne, second by Olivia to have Fisher Track
Clear
at
that up.
$75,680 to do our track resurface program. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Okay, let's come back to the mics then. Russ, if you want to come up for us?
Just real quick, I just did a real quick check, and the QLX E14 is the actual product. The QLX EP dash G50 is the Sweetwater line number for it.
It's just the.
Okay,
so they're both the same?
It's their catalog number for that system.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that information. Appreciate it.
Okay, so let's go back to here and let's have some more discussion, where we want to go. First thing, let's decide, are we pretty well set on 16? You think that's the number we want to look at, or are we interested in some other number other than that?
12 or 16 anyway.
I just firmly believe we don't need to poor boy this. This is a
I think we should
program
go with 16.
Brings us notoriety in the community, money you're saving, but not having for the people that are involved. It just
That's
doesn't
right.
send the right signal to those people.
So I think 16 is a good number, so,
Mr. Castle?
yes.
I think he has a little more information.
Well, then get up here, Mr. Head, come on.
So we have a few systems, radios over at the middle school right now. I don't know what the frequencies are on those, and I don't know how they would work with ones we have, but they do have bad microphones. So I don't know if it's something where we can put a few new microphones on those. I don't know.
It was my understanding when Mr. Burke looked at that, the likelihood of that wasn't going to be,
Okay.
but it's possible.
Like I say, I don't know, so I don't want to mislead anybody or
Right.
anything like that. But I do know that we've got a few radios. I just don't know if they're going to argue with the ones that we would be getting,
They're
if
not
they would
very
work
shape.
alongside them, or what. And without investigating that, I can't answer that honestly, so.
But if they did, then we'd have 20, right? If they worked.
It could, as long as the ones that we're getting aren't the same duplicate frequencies. Because we couldn't use two of the same
Oh.
carrier frequency, or they'd be crossing channels.
I'm acting like I understand that.
Well, it's just, there's only so many lanes available.
Right.
And if you've got two things driving in the same lane, then you're gonna have a wreck.
Understand that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? We have a couple 16 bids. I think probably we could, at the very least, you could probably figure that if you added those 8s up to double that, if you wanted to go with that other type of microphone, you would think that they would at least give us that same price, you'd think, not a guarantee, but may even get a little less, but if you went the 8 from Total Electronics and used their Shure, which then you're talking apples and apples, they're still higher than KCAV at 16.
Well, Mr. Head's been in the industry a long time, and I'm not interested in buying something that he hasn't ever heard of.
Well, but just because he hadn't heard of it doesn't mean it's not good. I mean, wouldn't you agree that, right? I mean, if that guy said that it's at a cheaper price, and I'm sure at least they're local.
Local Electronics, are they out of Joplin?
They're out of Joplin.
Of course, KCAV's out of, they got offices around the state. And I'm not sure Sweetwater, where's their headquarters?
I do not know.
Fort
What's
Wayne,
the
Indiana.
difference that we're talking? Money-wise?
You don't know because you don't have a bid from Total Electronics for 16.
About $250.
Yeah.
$227 a unit.
What'd you say, David?
$227 a unit.
A unit? If you doubled the Total Electronics on the Avalex, you'd be looking at 16,000, somewhere around $16,000.
Yeah, just under 16, that's correct.
But again, that's assuming that they would give us the same price or better price for doubling the order.
Which is odd, because Sweetwater did not do that in a linear
No, they
fashion,
don't.
and that was what I was struggling with.
They did slightly.
They added,
Price per unit, 1560 versus about 1700.
yeah, but whenever you add units, you would think the price would not go up.
I think it has to do probably with, well, and you're right, in accordance to the other KCAV, and
So that's what's got me baffled.
Yeah.
probably has to do something with the number of frequencies, like Mr.
Very
Head
well.
mentioned. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody's familiar with this Avlex and compared to Sure, so it's the unknown factor of the unknown brand.
Should we table this till we get a solid bid?
How quickly do we need
Or-
this?
Or do we want it for the,
Well, they're practicing now.
now? Yeah.
And these bid estimates are good for 30 days. So that's,
I'll make a motion to accept the KCAV bid for 16 for 19.3 for the Sure equipment.
Okay, we have a motion by Jeff. We have a second from anyone?
I'll second that.
Second by Lou, to accept KCAV's bid for 16 mics at a cost of $19,300. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
6-1. Motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Turn the page. KASB recommended policies. You received this about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. It's a pretty thick packet. Any questions, concerns on anything that KASB presents to us on these? Lou?
On the second to last page on the bullying plan, is that our plan?
if we were to adopt this policy, and that's, yes.
Talking about the JDDC short model bullying plan. That's what that is.
Is there much difference between this one? I didn't look up the old one. Do you know?
I don't know right off the top of my head. I don't know right off the top of my head.
Give us information in this summary. A lot of that looks like the statutory changes, because we had to be changed by statute.
Yeah, that's what it's, statutory references were updated. So it's just simply a revision. It's not a new policy.
Any others?
These pages aren't numbered, but there's a section in there on minority businesses, women's business enterprises, and labor surplus area firms. And it states that placing qualified small and minority business and women's business enterprises on solicitation lists. Do we have any minority or women's business enterprises on our solicitation list for anything? I know the city has the same policy.
That's DCAF procurement, federal programs is where you'll find that. Look, it's pretty close to the front.
Because the word that is the qualifier, the district must take necessary steps, affirmative steps, to assure that minority businesses and women's enterprises and labor surplus area firms are used when possible.
When possible. Linda?
We solicit bids, we've solicited bids from all of these tracks. If there was a women's group, a minority, those would be asked. Finding.
Well, I get it. I just want to make sure that someone would alert us that they've looked and they can't find this.
Right. But a lot of our stuff we buy through Greenbush,
The
because
cooperative
they've already
purchasing.
went through that whole bidding process. Or you can just select one of those. But that's title programs for all federal programs.
Okay. Just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody else have anything? Okay. All right. In that case, I would accept a motion to approve these updates.
Move to approve those updates as printed.
Motion by Jeff, a second.
Second.
Second by David. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Action to appoint representative to the delegate assembly at the KASB convention being held in Overland Park, November 30th through December 2nd. I would volunteer to do that. I am on the legislative committee, KASB.
You'll be attending otherwise, is what you're suggesting, correct?
I can't. I was doing Stella Wells.
Mr. Deroni, do you want to go?
I think I'll pass on that.
Well, you get a trip to Overland Park. Few nights hotel room, swanky hotel.
That's just what I need.
I thought maybe you might be interested in that.
I've been before. I say no. I've been.
I would make a motion to appoint Mr. Castle then, for representative to the delegate assembly.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Joanne, to appoint Mike Castle as your representative at the convention. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carry 7-0. Executive session to discuss personnel matters for non-elected personnel. Oh, I'm sorry. We got to 10.5A. Find a date and time for a special meeting and discuss our long-range projects. We have 2 or 3 suggested dates, see how they work for you. If they don't, we'll try to find something else. Mrs. Ray,
September the 28th, October the 1st, or October the 8th. Those were the 3 dates that,
October the 1st on
Monday.
it's a Monday.
all of Mondays.
The 28th of Friday.
You said September 28th, October 1st, and what was the other one?
October the 8th.
October dates would work best for me.
I'd rather do a Monday.
I would
Monday, yeah.
rather do it Monday.
Okay.
And the 27th is when we're doing the
Monday,
safety committee.
28th,
Okay.
Monday the 1st, or Monday the 8th.
How about the
And this
1st?
is for what, again?
Special, we got some long-term projects. As an example, we're going to need to look at buses. The busing issue is one
Yeah,
of
that's
them.
some long-term projects, yeah. When are we going to look at the strategic plan that we keep talking about?
We could do that at the same time.
We could.
And develop it. And maybe we may have something on the brain bubble here, folks, sorry.
Bus roofs, phones,
Phones, we got several things.
strategic plan. There's a lot of long-term projects going
Buildings.
on.
And then maybe if we have our meeting, we'd have something on the
Maybe.
HR,
Okay.
or PR, I mean,
yeah.
We
PR.
could.
Yeah.
What's the date? you-
Telephone system, that's all right.
Right.
You're right, the first or
So there's several little things, that the busing thing is going to be a major issue we're going to face in the
Seem a
very,
little
very
bit
near
big.
future. So how does, the 1st or the 8th, which one works the best for
Let's
folks?
go early, let's go October 1st.
First.
Okay.
First is
Let's go
fine.
October 1st. Okay. And now we need to set it, I was going to say we need to set a time.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. You all go with the time, I'll be there.
What works well for you? You'd rather come a little later, right?
Can't even tell you. Your day would be over.
Okay.
It's a Monday.
That's a Monday, yeah.
It's a Monday.
Are we talking the evenings?
We can go in the evening.
9:30 or 10.
I would prefer more.
Oh, and we're
Just
talking
because
how
we're
many
pretty good.
hours for us working folk?
I'm thinking probably the bus thing will maybe take 45 minutes or so, 45 minutes to an hour, so an hour and a half maybe.
Because we'll just
I mean, if we commence the discussion on strategic planning, just a commencement of that's gonna take 30 or 45 minutes, so I think you better plan for 2 or 3 hours if we add that in. But it's just,
We don't have to do it then. I mean, I'm just asking, we got to keep that on the table.
Right.
You
I
said
have
we're
no
gonna do a
problem doing it
strategic
then, I mean,
plan.
from a timing
Bring
perspective,
somebody
let's
in,
not
so we,
minimize what that's gonna take, so.
I don't have anything on those days until nighttime, so I'm good whenever it works for everybody else.
we can do 8 o'clock for the working people. Is that okay, David?
Yeah, or
Earlier?
3 or something, if you want to do it in the afternoon. If it goes long, it goes long.
I'd just say do morning if we could.
You can go in the afternoon, Roger?
No, not really. I just
Prefer morning.
runs a whole day for me. I mean, the rest of it, well, yeah, I prefer, I mean, I prefer morning.
8 o'clock's fine then.
8 o'clock work for everyone?
Yep,
No.
No,
8:30.
What time are you going to church? 9 o'clock?
I get out 8:35, 9 would work.
9.
Let's do 9 o'clock then.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock work for everyone then? October 1, 9 a.m. Have a motion for that, please?
I move that we meet on October 1st at 9 o'clock a.m. for strategic planning and large projects that we have.
Okay, at the district office. Second, Olivia, have a second from someone?
Second.
Second, Lou. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0, thank you. Now, executive session, discuss personnel matters, non-elected personnel. I'd like 10 minutes. Laura, do you need anything?
I don't.
Anybody else have anything they want to? All right, 10 minutes. Do we have a motion for that, please?
Move that we go into executive session for 10 minutes.
I second it.
Okay. Motion to go into executive session, discuss confidential employee information pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception to Tacoma at 7:17, it's called 7:18, for 10 minutes. Return to the meeting here at 7:28 and we will invite the superintendent and the superintendent's, what's your title again? Assistant to the superintendent?
I'm a mentor, I'm whatever you want to call me.
To the meeting. Okay. Any discussion? Let's see, we got Joanne, and who got second?
I did.
And Olivia. Okay. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say 7-0. Thank you.
Get stiff.
Look at you 2 days. Could you have your cabin or something out on the lake?
Okay, we're back in session. We're at action item 10.7, action on personnel.
All right, recommendations for employment effective 2018-19 school year. Jaron Dixon, middle school assistant track. Kira Mason, Garfield Title I aide. Brandy Redmond, high school assistant junior class sponsor. Hope Smith, high school boys head swimming. Jordan Swanson, high school technology production technician.
Motion to approve those recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Lou, approve those recommendations for employment. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
Abstain.
6-1, abstention counts as a no vote. Okay, 6-1. Board education requests. We have any requests from anyone? Something coming up?
Yeah, how about an update on what's going on with the PA room or whatever the new name is?
With
What
the
are they
TEC.
doing?
An update,
Alternative.
okay.
Any needs, any,
And that's the Tri-County Education Center. That class is what they're calling, it's this, that's
Right.
the new name they gave it. So,
It was
Yeah,
Project
It was
Alternative.
Project
yes.
Alternative.
And it's at the high school now,
And it is
right?
at the high school this year.
Any other requests? If not, we adjourn.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for good evening, good day.
Good, thanks, Roger.